We've currently got a special offer live now on poodlecfb.com for the launch of College Football 26. Use code KICKOFF, all caps, for $50 off the annual plan, or code KICKOFF 2025 for $5 off the monthly plan. You'll unlock exclusive spreadsheets, in-depth info, and our members-only Discord. Join hundreds of members in the fastest-growing CFB 26 community out there. Don't miss out and sign up now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 26 video, and in today's video, I'll be going over the best recruiting method in Dynasty mode. Before we get to the video, guys, if you haven't already, check out poodlecfb.com. We are running our launch special over there right now. If you use code KICKOFF, all caps, you will get $50 off the annual plan, and if you use code KICKOFF 2025, all caps, you get $5 off the monthly. Guys, the best part about this is it is a recurring grandfathered in membership deal. So if you lock it in now, as long as you want to be a member of poodlecfb.com, you will have it. A lot of the testing, the A/B testing, the spreadsheets, the tools, the calculators, everything we do over there, all the tools, everything that's going to make you dominate your dynasty, you don't want to miss it. There's so much going on over there. We have a lot of day one content already up. We strive really hard this year to make sure that we had everything ready for day one so that all of our members would have everything they want. We have hundreds of members in there already. We're going to be nearing 1,000 probably very shortly. Come join the fastest growing CFB community. You won't want to miss out on all the great methods, the minds, all the talking in there, as well as our dynasty leagues and other things we do over there. Highly recommend it, guys. But that's about it. Let's get into the video. Guys, this video is going to be a little long. I don't want to just make some cookie cutter, like do this, do this. No, I have a lot of things that go into being the best recruiter, and a few things will have some order, some won't. So just stay tuned for all of this. The first thing I do want to kick this off with when doing this is I'm going to go through the coaching packages just a little bit. Now, you don't necessarily need this because it is a method. I'm going to go over my best method to recruit regardless, but there are some things that will help you do this. If you haven't seen my greatest coach build already, definitely go watch that video. I'm going to go through all this in all in depth. If it hasn't out yet, watch it after this one. If it is out, go watch it. This one may be coming out before the other one. I record a lot in bulk, so make sure to check it out. My coach build that I'm going to be doing is going to make it very easy to recruit. Obviously, the method I'm going to show you is still going to be very good regardless, but this will only help it. So first off, when I'm recruiting, I'm focusing on tier 1 across the board up here for the advanced scouting. Advanced look for the scouting, no kicker, punter as always. On elite recruiter, I'm looking at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. I want all 4. So I want all 4 here, and I want tier 1. That's the first thing I want when I'm trying to recruit. The second thing is going to be in program builder, and that's having relationship builder fully maxed out as well as strong roots maxed out. Once you have all these things, you will be in like peak rare form for recruiting. But that's only the coaching package side of it. If you want a little bit of explanation, this is big because a lot of my methods are going to include pipelines and how to leverage them with how CFB 26 has changed. So it is important that you do get these because this will only make your pipelines better. If you're a small school, this is a huge bonus. If you're a great school, this is a really good bonus. And if you're like the top tier like Alabama, it's still a good bonus. Either way, but it definitely helps with smaller schools the most, but with big schools, it still helps a lot. And that's going to be getting all your pipelines up into the purple, blue, gold range versus being like nothing, like a 1 or 2, because as you do know, visits this year have a proximity bonus where if you're a gold 5 pipeline or a purple 5 pipeline, you get a 10-point visit. If you're a blue pipeline, which is a 4, you get a 15-point, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be very important for my method and how I want to actually approach recruiting this year. Once you have your coaching packages right, or if you don't have them right, either way, we're going to move over to the recruiting board. When setting up your board, this is so important. I think this method actually works even better in the first 2 seasons. It works good across the entirety of the year, and you're going to want to be leveraging this, but in the first 2 seasons, it's so important. Why in the first 2 seasons is it so important? Because to get that packages and all those abilities I just showed you, you're going to need Elite Recruiter. And to get Elite Recruiter, if you look behind my webcam, right here, right above my head, sign 2 top 5 recruiting classes. So to sign 2 top 5 recruiting classes, it's not easy. You're going to have to be top 5 in your entire league amongst many other great teams. And if you want to track where that is, it's under top classes. Now, how do you become a top 5? You bring in the most talent efficiently. Some guys are going to spend all their points on some 5 stars. And especially the first 2 seasons when no one has Elite Recruiter, no one has packages, it's going to be more of a dice roll. So in CFB 25, you got to erase all that from your mind. Forget everything you knew about CFB 25 because you're going to start from ground zero. Before, with our old coach build, you could just go in right away and bully people and get 10 5 stars, which was awesome, but you can't do that. So now, remember how it was when you first got CFB 25 and you were trying to recruit 5 stars and it was like a dice roll. So for every 10 5 stars on your board, you'd be lucky to get like 1. You're going to be there again. So if you allocate all your points towards a 5 star, all of your recruiting hours, you go for 10 to 15 5 stars and you only win 1 or 2, and that's your whole class, you're not getting top 5. So in the first 2 seasons, you want to be efficient. So my recruiting method, not only is it going to be great, it also maximizes efficiency, and that's so important. So let's go back to the setup recruiting board right here. So when starting your board, I'm calling this what I've coined it. I like to make up names on this channel is the layered pipeline recruiting method. I'm going to layer my recruits. Now, it really depends on the size of your program for how you're going to layer them. So let me be clear about this. If you're a great program, a great pipeline program, think LSU, think Texas A&M, think Texas, think Bama, think Georgia, Florida, Miami. If you're one of those schools, you don't have to entirely layer them. You could just go on this one route that I'm going with here for the most part, but the layered approach is looking strictly at the pipeline. So 5 for purple, right? And so on and so forth. So great schools like Florida, you can do this for hours and just have all purple, right? But we're going to be starting with the 5 stars. 5-star players when you're a great program. If you're not as great program, dial it back to 4. So everything I'm saying, keep that in mind relative to your school. So when I'm saying start with 5s, if you're a 3-star program, maybe you start with 4s. If you're a 2-star program, maybe you start with 4 and 3s. If you're a 1-star program, maybe you start with 3s. If you're a 5-star program, you can start with the 5s. But looking at your pipeline, so when I look at 5-star prospects, I can only bring in these 3 guys out of 5 and these at a yellow. I'm off the board in these guys. First and foremost, in the first 2 seasons, don't go for anyone off your board. I'm telling you right now, don't go for anyone off your board. You're not winning them. That's just how this game's gonna be played. Don't go for anyone off them. Don't go for anyone off your board. I want a lot of these purple guys on my board because these purple guys, I'm gonna call them purple guys, 5 pipeline, tier 5 pipeline. They're gonna have 10-point visits. Now, as you guys know, without Elite Recruiter, we're all gonna be fighting with 50 points. It's gonna come down to basically luck of the draw and who has the highest lead. So right now, I have the highest lead in this guy. If I go down here, it's Alabama behind my webcam. I'm not gonna have the best chance of winning this guy. I'm in the 9th spot. So it's really gonna come down in the first 2 seasons to visits. And a lot of this year, until you get to Elite Tier 4 Recruiter, it's gonna come down to visits. So you want to be focusing heavily on how can you bring in the most efficient amount of visits. Now, if you bring in a guy like this, Barbour, let's say you love this guy. He's a route artist. He has 93 speed. He's a great wide receiver. You want him. He's off your board and you have no pipeline on him. That's going to cost you 40 points for your visits. That's a big no-no. You don't want to be doing that with this recruiting method. You want to be layering it. When I say layer, it's like building a cake. You want a bunch of 5, you want a bunch of purples, a bunch of yellows, and ideally a bunch of blues. You don't really want to go into the silver tier guys because they're going to be 30-point visits. You really want purples and blues and maybe a hint of yellows, in my opinion. So we bring in our 5s. We're going to start here on these guys that we can bring in. Then we're going to go to our 4-star recruits. I'm not really interested in the 5s unless you're high on their board. If you want, you can sort by this, and you could throw a few guys on your board, but like see 5 and 8 silver, I'm maybe throwing on the 4s and the 5s. Why? Because I'm almost off the board, and you have to remember this. Let's just say I'm 8th on this guy's board. Jason Proctor, route artist. I'm 8th on this guy's board, but there's a chance, right? But remember this. The influence, the proximity visit bonus boost goes both ways. So while you're a 2 here on this pipeline, which is the straight Texas pipeline, Texas, like, the school in Texas, has them at a 5 purple, and LSU probably has them as a 4 purple, or maybe even a 5. So keep that in mind, that you have to realize now that LSU and Texas can get him for 10-point visits. So now you're going to be competing with them, and now they're going to have the pipeline advantage, they're going to have the interest advantage, and they're going to be able to put a 10-point visit on him, which means if it's a 10-point visit, this is how I'm looking at it. A 10-point visit is going to be automatic. If you have a player on your board that gets a 10-point visit, you're probably automatically applying it to the guy. So you have to factor in your head that your opponent, if you're going against Texas right now, LSU, and TCU, they're all doing the same thing. They're putting 10 points on. So why are you going to go apply 35 and spend what could be, or in this case 30, what could be 3 total visits in your 5-tier pipeline? So I'm avoiding those guys unless I'm high on their board. But even this guy in 5, I'm not really interested in for the most part, especially on 5 stars, because everyone from their home state's gonna go all in on their 5 stars. So I'm trying not to compete with 5 stars out of pipeline too much. So this is where I'm sticking. Then I'm going to the 4 stars. Now I'm sorting again by this. All these guys in 1, all on my board. They can all come. All of them for sure can be on my board. This guy in 2, not too interested. I am second on his board, but I am going to get some pretty great people. I'm probably going to skip that guy and stick with these. And the beauty about with bigger schools, like I told you, is you're going to have a lot of these options. So for you to break it down for your small schools won't have as many 5s. Some small schools won't have 5s at all. So again, it's relative. If you have a school where your highest pipeline's a 3, you're doing this with all 3 players. You're doing this with all 2 players. But if you're at a great school, you're doing it with your 5s and 4s, and the advantage of program builder and coaching abilities, like I told you about, they upgrade all your pipelines up. So if you're a school that only has 3s, 2s, and 1s, if you upgrade them with program builder, you'll get to 5, 4, and 3s. So that's the importance of it. But as a small school, you're likely competing with smaller school prospects, so you'll be fine. But you want to keep doing that, and you can go down the board on this. And this basically how I'm filling up my board. I'm getting all these 5s on there, and I may sneak in a few, and then I may go by interest a little bit. And then also just make sure I'm not missing any of like the gimmies. Some guy that like let's say this guy's above me is Georgia. I don't think I'll win this one, but there will be a few that maybe like you're competing with really small schools on. So, you know, do your due diligence, see what size school you're going against. But let's say that's my board right there at 29. Now we go through, and as you see, I'm gonna be up pretty decently on a lot of these guys, and the ones that I'm not, or I'm off the board entirely, I'm not interested in. And that's fine, because remember, a large part of what we're doing is seeing where we're at. So now that I go through my board, I'm gonna filter by interest, and you're gonna see we're gonna be top on a lot of these boards, and that's important. I'm gonna go through, and any guy that basically I'm off the board on, they're coming off my board. We're not winning them. I know we're not winning them. I'm not even gonna bother in the first 2 seasons. Once you have elite recruiter though, you can go ahead and actually keep those guys on your board. Once you're maxed out elite recruiter, that's fine, but you guys aren't going to get that for like a few months into the game, probably at least 2, unless you're simming offline. It's going really quick. So we're going to get those guys off our board, and this is what we're working with. So now you want to go through and scout them. Go through scout. Either way, we got to cut this down because we don't have enough points to offer everyone. As you guys know, that's just the nature of the game. We're going to go through red X's now, or bus players. Sorry, I'm still doing this. I do want to make a note. When recruiting, there are some guys who are going to be red bus players. In seasons 1 and 2, bring them in. Why? You're trying to get elite recruiter. A lot of people are going to avoid this guy because they're going to be like, oh, a backfield threat, running back with 85 speed. I don't want him. Screw it. You go all in on him. Why? Because that's going to apply to a 5-star player on your board. In the first 2 seasons, you're allowed to go on those red bus players. So trying to get elite recruiter is what we're going for our day 1 recruiting method here. If it's the first 2 seasons, and keep this all in mind, write these notes down if you need. If you're in the first 2 seasons, you can go ahead and grab this guy after those first 2. Once you get your elite recruiter activated, once you have it, you can stop bringing these guys in and then just take this method out of context and use it the way you want without taking these guys into effect. So you want to go through and just start scouting all these players, see who's worth it, see who's not. Because there's going to come a point where you got to narrow this list down. Because even though you want all these guys, you're gonna be in a spot where you don't have enough hours for everyone, especially with smaller schools and even with bigger schools. So you're gonna have to really narrow your list down to like, okay, who do I want to go all in on? So right now with 50 points, I have 1,000 hours right now. I have 50 points. So at this moment, once we advance, we'll see a difference in hours, but you got to do the math. So what you do is you divide it by how many max hours you could spend in a given week, which right now is 50. So as it stands with 1,000, I'd be able to go for 2 times 10, which is 20 recruits at any given time. And that's not the final hours. There's gonna be more to this here, but these are the guys that I'm sticking with on my board. And you also can go in, like I said, and just filter if you want to add a few more to your interest list. If you end up getting down to this list like me and I cut people off the board, it doesn't hurt to throw a few people that you may be high in interest on once you make this basis board ready. I'm not going to go and scout too much. The only thing when you're scouting is just be careful not to run out of hours. One of the biggest things is people go like this and just rapidly scout, and then they don't offer scholarships. So remember, you have to save some points for scholarships to go through and actually offer these guys. So make sure you do go ahead and actually do that as well. And make sure you calculate. I don't usually do it like this. What I usually do is I count how many recruits I'm going to offer. Let's say I'm going to offer a total of 30 recruits. I'm going to do 30 times 5, which is 150. And I'm going to have to save 150 points just for scholarships. That, in my opinion, is the best way to do it. And that way you just know when you see on the top of your screen, okay, I'm getting near 150, I got to stop scouting and go down. That way I don't lock players on my board, or if I need some space, I can still go back and scout some players and do what I want to do. So let's offer all these scholarships, get them all on my board. And again, be a little bit more diligent when you're actually doing this. I'm trying to make a video for you guys and laying out my methods. You may want to actually be like, okay, that guy's pretty bad. I had another guy that I could have just put in there instead and go through it. But I'm just trying to get through how the methodology works on being able to dominate your recruiting classes. So let's go through, keep offering these scholarships. And now there's some more space. I always recommend filling out your board as much as you can after this first routine go through, once you get all your guys offered, because remember, there's going to be a few guys where you just fall off the board on. Things happen. There's some luck to this too sometimes when it comes to like where you fall in the first week. Do you fall off their board entirely? So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm coming back to 5 stars. I'm going to interest. Anyone in a top interest area that I wasn't hitting on. I have a 2 here, an 8 here, an 8 here, and a 9. I'm going to put those guys on my board because it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at this point. We got our top 20 that I'm comfortable going all in on. That's fine. Now, you never know if you get lucky with an advance and take some kind of lead or something, or someone forgets to offer someone. So now we're going to filter by interest here too. And now we're going to come through and get this guy on our board and this one. And another reason I like doing this, so this is going to apply even after the first few seasons. And this is the fact that if you're top 5 on a player's board and you throw them a scholarship, you may actually sit on their board for a little bit. So remember, what I call is the like the different tiers of recruiting. The first few weeks when you're recruiting, you're bringing in all this high level talent. And then once you get through them, you're going to get like season, like week 4 or 5, and you're going to have all these hours back because a lot of people committed. Now you got to go back and go find more guys to recruit to round out your class. So the beauty of getting these guys who are you're high on their list, and especially 4-stars, look at this. So let's go down to one of these guys. We're pretty high on these guys' list. Let's get one that we were kind of high on. Let's say like the 5 we just added. Well, let's go to a 4-star. We're 5 on here. Maybe let's see if do we have a 3 on here? Like 4. We have a 4-star guy, and we're 4th in their board. Because everyone's going for the 5 stars, like a lot of these big schools may be going for 5 stars early, you're going to see this guy go offer. He's going to get offered, but he may not actually get any actions applied to him. So by offering him a scholarship, you'll stay on his board the next few weeks. So by week 4, if you don't offer him a scholarship, you may fall off his board and get locked out. By offering a scholarship and just scouting him now, when it comes to week 4 and it's time to start recruiting again, you actually may be in a position where he's still on your board and you can come back and get him. And you're going to need these 4 stars to round out your class. So I'm going to finish up off camera, just applying all of these scholarships, and then we'll keep it moving. All right, so I've offered everyone. So here's the big moment. I'm doing this for a video, like I said, so I'm not going to go through them all, but you want to now go through your scouting, start favoriting recruits. Now that you can do that, you can actually place stars on them with Y. Go through, favorite the recruits you really like, take a look and be like, okay, I really like this guy, click on them, go through and just start to favorite guys. Double tap, double tap. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to look at these 2 quarterbacks, right? Scout them a little bit. I'm going to look at them and go like, okay, so I really like this guy, right? 80 speed maybe. He's a green gem, 96 throw power. He's really good. 77 speed, 96 throw power. Okay, so ideally I want this one. That way, when I'm getting to these next phases, I can look quickly and just see what I do, what I need to do. And why is that important? Because when you're advancing in an online league, people are sharks. They're going to advance and log in instantly to place visits and do things. You need to know right away who are your guys, like who are my guys. So I want to go through my whole board and say, all right, that guy's really bad. This guy's 95 speed. That's my guy. I want him. I want this guy because he's a bust, but I'm not like immediately rushing to place a visit on him. I want this guy, right? I want to be doing that for my whole board. So now that we've made it this far, let's get into this next week and keep moving. First and foremost, never leave your hours higher than 0. Use all your hours, because what happens is too, the second half of the season, when it's time to go place more offers on people, you're going to realize that you don't have any of them scouted and you're going to want them. So what I do is, before I play scholarships as well, if you want to use all your points, I actually will cut these 5 guys. I'll take a picture of them, cut them, and I'll add a few more guys to my board, scout them, cut them off, scout them, cut them off, and then bring these guys back to my board and offer scholarships. Make sure you account for the points you need. That way, when you come back, you have pictures of these guys and you know that you have them scouted, and you have some safety nets in case you want to get guys later, because scouting in season is super expensive and super inefficient. So we're going to advance, and you guys are going to see when we get through 1 week and how we go through this kind of layered pipeline approach. Plus, we have a few more things. It's going to be kind of a long video because I have a few more things I want to go through, such as the rug pull method and the reevaluation method. But let's go through and see how this looks. So in this first advance, we're going to see a few things. We're going to see where we fall on some boards. Thankfully, they added some arrows so we can kind of see that we fell down on some guys, we went up on some guys. So I'm going to filter by interest again because that's what I'm kind of focused on off rip, is to see where I sit in a lot of boards. So I'm sitting in the top. Why am I sitting near the top on all these boards? Because we're going after pipeline guys for the most part. And occasionally there's a surprise like this one that no one else offered him, so I only got to compete with LSU. And now there's a world where this is viable. That's why you still offer a few of these guys, and that's why it's called the layered approach. The layered approach is basically bringing in all those 5, 4, 3 guys that you can count on being high on their board so that you have your safety net and have your easy visits, and then bringing in a few flyers like these guys in case you get lucky. But that way you don't only go for flyers and you end up in a situation where you're short on players that you can actually get. Because see, guys like this LSU guy that I'm going against, what you're going to notice is guys like this one right here, especially when they're 5 stars. Okay, fine. This one worked out, but there'll be 5 others or 7 others that you fell off their board on or fell to the bottom, and now you got to drop them. Now you wasted scouting points and time, and you wasted scholarships, and that's a big deal. So we're going to keep moving through. We can finally apply our actions, guys. There's not much to do here because now we only have 50 points. You're going to be stuck with 50 points for a while. So go through and just apply your 50 points to every player. First rule of thumb is always apply maximum points. A lot of people may comment, why? Why don't I just do 25 each so that I can get everyone on my board? Guys, it's like life. If you half-ass anything in life, you're not going to get anywhere. It's the same thing with this game. The first year of CFB, I saw so many people doing the half method and trying to like balance their board. Don't do that. Go all in. Because like I said about pipelines, okay, just because you have a 2-star pipeline, while that sounds good, some other guy has a 5 and he's going for him. He's going to beat you on visit. So with that being said, I'm going for full points because there's going to be someone else who goes full points. And if you don't do full, you're going to lose out. We're all playing the 50 game now. There's no room for margin, especially in the first 2 seasons when you don't have abilities. So make sure you go and apply them to all the guys you want. I'm randomly applying here, guys, because like I said, This is just me making a video. You want to actually go through and see the guys you definitely want. But for me, what I'm doing is I'm supplying it so when I advance, I don't forget to do this. For me, what I'm doing is I'm seeing who can I actually win. So this guy 5-star, I have a good chance of winning him. I have a great chance of winning him. He stays on my board. He's getting favorited, right? This guy, great chance of winning him. And if you want to look, when you go up, see that shaded area? As that goes up, the bigger it is versus your opponents, the better chance you have. So I have a much bigger one than Miami and Florida. Florida State. I feel really good about that one. And you're just going to keep going through and adding all the guys you have a great chance of winning. So in the first two seasons, until you get Elite Recruiter, all you're doing is prioritizing all the guys you have a good chance of winning. The 5-stars, the 4-stars, etc. Right? Go through, check these. I think I could maybe win this one because we haven't actually done actions yet. But he has a better pipeline than me, so that's iffy, but maybe I still go with it. This guy's going to be a tough one. I didn't really gain too much interest here, and they have better pipelines than me. So that's going to play a role. So go through and see all the guys you think you have a good chance of winning. Once you have Elite Recruiter, then you're going to play the game of like, I think I can win, and I can probably win, and maybe, versus right now you're sticking with just like the most likely I'll win. So go through and do that. There's not much yet to do here with the layered approach besides just setting your board. And as we go through, you're going to see where the benefits come. So here's where this all comes together. So when you're looking at these visits, a guy like this in a 2-star pipeline only costs 10, but you don't have a 5-star pipeline or 5-tier pipeline bonus on him. So while I do still get the 10-point visit, and while this may be an easy win, what you're gonna have to factor in is that someone with a 5 purple pipeline bonus plus program builder with the Elite Recruiter pipeline bonuses and all that will actually have a much higher effect using their pipeline. But it does come down to proximity, so you do want to play that into and take it into account when going through. But as you see, all the guys with the 5-star, and we filter by interest, is basically going to be the top of your board, as you see. So look at this. Look at all my guys. You're all going to be gold 5. Now some of the 2s are going to squeeze in there, but while they are 2s and you can potentially get a cheaper visit on them, as seen here, like a 15 or off the board a 15, or you can get a 2 for, let's say, 30 in this situation. The purple ones are going to be the ones you get the biggest bonus and the biggest interest bonuses on, especially once you get the packages. So that's the importance of this, and it's going to make it a lot easier. As you see, we're at the top of a lot of boards with no packages. We're just killing Georgia, right? How are we killing Georgia here? Because of the pipeline bonuses. They made pipeline more important this year, so it's going to be really important that you take this into account. So let's go apply a visit to this guy, or he's not in his top 5. Let's go back to top 5. In top 5, let's go look at this one right here, and let's go sort by interest, and let's look at our top guys that we have. So right here, you see we have a 5 guy who is going to be able to get a visit for 15 points. For the most part, being a purple pipeline likely means you have a good proximity, because a lot of the times your pipelines are high because of proximity. There are some schools that have like weird, obscure pipelines far away. That's going to be a problem. But for a lot of schools, this will be the case. But you'll get the bonuses for being a 5-tier pipeline, plus you will go ahead and get the cheaper visit. So, like I said, now it's time to reevaluate. That's part of our recruiting method. We need points to apply visits. We can only do 4 in 1 week. So for all intents and purposes right now, we're going to need to get at least like 50 to 60 points back. So what I like to do is I like to go through and play the game of who am I likely not to win. So we sorted by interest. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to go see who do I have a good chance of losing, and that way this is easier. So right here, this guy has no points on him though, so it doesn't matter. No points, no points, no points. So this one, I feel like we have a decent chance of fighting this one. This one, we have a decent chance, but Miami has a bigger lead. This one I'm still pretty comfortable with, but we don't have a pipeline on them. So if we go to place a visit, but we're in proximity, we have 15, but we're not going to get the bonus. And if we keep going through, I'm going to play the game of who is going to beat me in these. Now, also keep in mind, when doing this, an online league will be a lot more competitive. We're in an offline league right now, so you're not going to see the same changes as you would see in an online league. In an online league, you'll probably be a lot more people competing and a lot closer. But that's what you're going to do. Go through and see who you can cut. So for me, I'm losing to Ohio State. Out of all the ones, this one's probably an easier cut for me than others. And then I'll probably go through and see like who's pretty bad. So like the bus players, while I may not want them, I may want them for the actual Elite Recruiter. But I'm going to go through and see like, okay, let's say they're all pretty similar. Who can I cut amongst these that I don't really care for? Let's say Miami's going to beat us here, even though I want him. I'm going to go through and just see who am I going to lose to. In this situation, fortunately, it's a pretty good guy, but this is the one where it looks more likely that I'll lose. They have a 5 pipeline too. That gives me at least 50 hours so far. I will start there though and see if I can apply all my visits. So say I want to bring this guy in on a week 5 bye. That's only going to be 15 points. Make sure you do it based on their best available grade. For this one's going to be championship contender. So you want to make sure to apply that. And then let's keep moving down and applying visits to the players we want. This one doesn't need it, so don't waste points on this one. You're not going against anyone there. This one looks like you'll probably need a visit. Only 15 points. Let's apply one there. Whichever one, program tradition, is off the screen that you can't see, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, this guy is probably not going to need a visit. This one's probably not going to need a visit. This one, because George is close, I'm going to give him a visit. This one's only 10. Let's apply that one as well. And let's go for the one all the way at the bottom down there. And let's see what else we have. Or if you guys, by the way, if you don't know which one's available, you can just look at their deal breaker around my head, which is going to be Coach Prestige. That's a free one for you guys to do, and just so on and so forth. But when doing this, the beauty of this now is, look, we've now applied 3 visits, and for the sake of it, we can get one more in here on this guy on a visit, and now we have a total of, once we get Conference Prestige in there. So as you guys can see, for the cost of only 40, of the cost of 4 visits, it was approximately about 40 to 55. In CFP 25, that would have cost you 160 points. Now, keep in mind though, if I did go for guys that have no proximity at all, like this guy from New Jersey that's on my board that maybe I think I have a chance of winning, that cost me 25, and so on and so forth, right? So if we go for a guy who's completely far away, not at all considered having any proximity, maybe like being a New York team all the way to California, and that's 40 points, that's super expensive. So we can't afford to do that. We want to be layering our team in a way with pipelines and proximity. That way we have enough players in there that we can sneak in for cheap visits. That way we keep our floor highest for when recruiting. So that's what you guys want to be doing with this, and just make sure you can keep that going on. And then from there also, you want to hard sell and do all the things you've always done. But really the key here is going to be layering your team to include pipeline and proximity as a key factor when recruiting. Another thing you want to be sneaking in when recruiting is going to be the rug pull method. Another thing that I coined last year. So where would the rug pull method work great? Right here. So as you guys see, this guy Shelby, he's a 4-star player. I really want him. He costs 50 points. That's fine. I don't want to lose him. But look, Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, and Texas, all 4 of them didn't even go in on him. They're so far behind. So what I do is what I call the rug pull method. I actually take this off of him, and I just remember to not forget. I just remind myself not to forget about him. But basically, every week you advance, just make sure, just watch. Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, with real users, likely none of them will come back into this race. They're going to look at it and be like, oh, I'm getting killed. There's no point. They're going to take these guys off their board. So now what you could do is you could leave them on empty, and then like week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, when you come back around, you can then come back then when you're done with your whole recruiting cycle and go reapply the 50. Now keep this in mind too. Imagine this. We needed about 50 points to get a visit on them. If you can rug pull effectively and you find the right guy to rug pull on, you don't even have to actually go and take guys off your board. You can just go ahead and just rug pull someone and get all your points back. So that's where things get kind of cool for me. That's why it's so important to look through to see who you can rug pull when you're actually doing a recruiting cycle like this, because I killed 2 guys where we talked about where I may have been able to win those, but if you can rug pull effectively, you're going to be great. So what you want to do is look where it says offer, see the contract offer. If no one going against you has contract offers on them like this guy, that's a shoo-in. And if you have a big lead already, everyone will be too scared to hop into the race. So this guy's like a guaranteed 4-star for us. It helps us towards elite recruiter, and we don't have to really put much effort into it at all. And this is going to be the case with a lot of them. So I always do that. And you want to be doing this each and every week. So to wrap it up, a lot of our tips here when doing this is layered pipeline. That means going after your high proximity teams that are close to where you actually are, like Florida, teams in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, so on and so forth, teams with purple pipelines or blue pipelines or gold pipelines, unless you don't have a program builder or you're a smaller school, making sure your recruiting packages get eventually upgraded to where you need them. And then once you're actually in the recruiting cycle, making sure that you're taking advantage of all the cheap visits you can get by doing it on guys strictly with higher proximity. And you're going to see as you go through it, they're all going to be changing depending on how far the school is, depending on the proximity. This guy's a 30 in Texas. That's a big deal. That's going to be expensive. So with that 30 points, I was able to get almost 3 visits on one other. So that's going to be very, very important. And then, of course, reevaluating and rug pulling. So each week you advance. Let's say we advance this week, right? I don't want to do it because then I got to go through the hard sell thing. But let's say you go through this week and you advance and you see that you actually fell really high, really back on this guy right here or one of these guys. Let's say LSU took a huge lead. Like this is the first week of actions. They hard sold early. They got a huge lead on you. Now you're so behind on LSU that the odds of winning are low. So why are you going to spend the next 3-4 weeks going all in? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my points off of him. I'm going to reevaluate my board. That gives me an extra 50 plus the 100. Now next week when we advance and I want to go through and actually go place visits on my next round of recruits like this guy, I actually have the points now to apply my week 6 and go through such as this. And that's going to be important. So I'm going to always be reevaluating for obvious losses. You need to be doing that. This year, you don't need to do it as much because visits are cheaper, but it's going to be important because if you can rug pull effectively, you can secure points for visits. and other recruits. And to get in the top 5, honestly, you're going to need between 15, really more, probably like 18 and 25 5 to 4 star recruits at least, plus some fillers. You're not gonna be able to do that in your first go around. As you guys see right now, we're probably going all in on about 12 recruits or so outside of the top 5 entirely. You're gonna have to do this one round, then you have to come back around again. So by being able to come off this guy early, you're gonna be able to secure another 4 star plus have him locked in the top 5 for you. And there's gonna be all the tips you want to follow to get in the top 5 consistently when recruiting. So make sure you do all those things. Get your coaching packages, follow proximity bonuses and pipeline bonuses when recruiting a lot. It's going to be a huge deal this year, because remember, while to you a guy may look winnable, he's going to cost you 40 points on a visit or 25, while a team all the way in Ohio, like Ohio State's going to be able to do it for only 10, and they're going to be out killing you with local recruits. It's going to be a big emphasis this year on securing your hometown talent. So last year it was mostly about bullying people with the ideal coach build or seeing what your interest gain was per week. This year it's going to be about playing the game of, I need to secure the guys in my backyard first. That's where I'm going to be leaning. Guys in my backyard first, and then everything else after that. That's how I'm going to be approaching recruiting, especially early on for Elite Recruiter. But guys, that basically wraps up today's video. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment them down below. I feel like we went through everything that I think is important. I could finish this recruiting cycle out for you, but I feel like you guys get the gist. As long as you follow these key tips. Of course, for anyone who wants some last second tips here, I feel like a lot of you played the game last year, so you don't need everything. But reminder, hard sell early as possible. You're not going to want to miss that. As soon as you can hard sell, the moment you're available. So right now on this guy, we have 2 greens on him. Play the process of elimination game. Go through and kind of see. Make sure to take the hours off, of course. Go through and see what you can hard sell. If you want to guess it, you can. I don't usually advise guessing unless you're going against the guy who usually guesses. But for me, hard sell as early as possible. As soon as you're available to do so, and you know the actual result and what it's going to be with the process of elimination, make sure you hard sell. Always send max hours. If it's 50, 60, 70, always send max hours. Never send less, because someone you're on against will send more than you, and you will lose. Apply visits to players who need them, like a closer battle, like perhaps this one, because Nebraska, Miami, or FSU, if any of them put a visit, they're overtaking me. Never send visits in situations like this. Never send visits, late visits. Like, never do a visit for a first round of recruits after like week 8. Like, putting a week 8 or week 9 visit on this guy is such a waste regardless, because someone's going to win by then on their recruit. So make sure that you definitely have a grasp on when to actually apply visits, even though they're 10 points. Don't just waste them, because you could only do 4 in a week, and they still do cost points even if they're 10. Make sure you hard sell as soon as possible. Make sure you don't recruit guys that you're off the board on. Make sure you recruit guys that you actually have a chance at. Make sure that you cut your losses early on guys that you absolutely know you're not going to win, because that's kind of ridiculous to go all. I've seen guys like fighting, like I've seen like Texas in this situation just fighting that far back when he's clearly going to lose, especially when there's like Georgia going in and Auburn too, and Texas is at the back of the line still fighting. Waste the points. And most importantly, make sure you're going for Elite Recruiter as soon as possible. It's like the arms race. First person to Elite Recruiter or CEO are going to absolutely dominate this year, guys. But that's about it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn the noti bell. Can we get 500 likes in this video? And if you haven't already, check out poodlecfb.com. All of our A/B testing, our recruiting, our calculators, our tools, our builds, everything we do, all of our discussions are over there. Some of the greatest minds in the CFB community reside in that group chat. You're going to learn so much, dominate your league, be accused of cheating. Code KICKOFF, all caps, get you $50 off the annual plan. Code KICKOFF 2025, all caps, get you $5 off the monthly plan. Don't miss out on it, guys. Comment down below if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.